Alright, says I'm live. If you guys can hear me, please let me know. We'll get started. I saw there was around 60 some people waiting, got some chats going, so hopefully we're gonna have a pretty good stream today, as always. Let's see. What's up, Josh? What's up, Hunter? Hopefully you have fun mowing the grass today. That's what you're doing. What's up, Trucker? Whoops. My phone playing the stream there. What's up, Spread? What's up, FV? Nice to have you here. Just saw you upped up on Patreon, I think, a little bit, so do appreciate that. What's up, Josh? Hunter says, about time, Christopher. What's up, Dirty Bird? What's up, Wade? What's up, Michael? The contest is not full, so if you guys want to go to my Twitter, I think there's like 12 open spots. Just go to my Twitter. It's in the bottom hand corner of this screen, and it's on my most recent tweet in the replies. Just hit the link, and you can join the contest. Because if it doesn't fill, obviously you won't have the contest run, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. What's up, Mike? Nice to have you here. What's up, Dude? Always got to have my wrench man handy. Always appreciate you stopping by. What's up, Mr. Miyagi? What's up, Paper? Looking forward to today's race. Should be a good one. I'm liking this slate quite a bit. I think this is a really good slate. Really fun for building lineups because you can kind of go whichever way you want. Like, you can make a case for, like, as for dominators, like, everyone from Truex and above, I think you could make a case for playing today. Like, I am not, like, I'm kind of low on a couple of those guys, but you can make a case for either of those, like, or just really anybody from 9K and up, and also like Alex Bowman, Ryan Blaney as potential dominators. So it's a pretty wide open slate. I think you can make a lot of good lineups today. I'm sure you guys feel probably the same way. What's up, my girlfriend's here? What's up, Juliana? Here to watch the best. Appreciate that. Hopefully we can do well in the contest today. We've kind of been slipping in the contest a little bit, but hopefully today turns that around. What's up, Mike? Nice to have you here. Albert says, what are the 550, 750 packages? So 750 is what we run at short tracks. You got the high horsepower, low downforce. It's going to be anything from Darlington and lower in size, which is, what, 1.3 miles in length. And the 550, pretty much all the 1.5s and above. And then the super speedways have their own specific kind of thing going on, but that's the difference in packages. And fans prefer the 750. I prefer it as well. And I also like short tracks, so that doesn't help. That makes things a little bit easier as well. What's up, Dustin? What's up, Chris? Any late changes for today for you? No, nothing's really changed for me. A couple of guys went to the rear, but they were pretty much all starting in the back anyway, so that doesn't change anything. No big names going to the rear. I haven't really changed my stances on anybody. I still love the JGR cars. I have very, very heavy exposure to all four of those guys. Kyle Busch being the lowest, but I still have a decent chunk of him, close to 30% today, in case he just happens to lead the majority of the race, which is certainly possible. Now, he's been way worse in the 750 than he has been in the 550 this year, but I'm loving JGR today. I personally think Denny Hamlin picks up his first win of the year. Brian says, what's up, Chris? Why the heck is Neil Suarez $8,900? That's a very good question, Brian. I don't know what Cameron said for the PD upside, but I don't think there's a reason he should be more expensive than guys like Ryan Blaney and Alex Bowman today. I feel like Daniel Suarez should be around $8,000. I know the PD upside looks good, and he's been a good driver this year, but that's a steep price tag when you can pay $200 more for a guy like Truex who could potentially dominate and win this race. So, not saying you can't play the two together, but just kind of a wild price tag for Danny Boy there. Bigger says, dipping into the gross section today, hopping those guys? Not really. I was looking at my exposures right before I got on here, so they were fresh in my mind. I think the highest exposure I have on a scrub driver might be 3%. I think it's Justin Haley, 3% Justin Haley. If I remember correctly, it's nothing significant though. It's only 150 max. If you're playing 20 lineups or less, there is absolutely no reason today to play any of those guys like Quinn Houff. I mean, there's no reason. You can build lineups very easy today. Let's see. Hunter says, fade Truex and Suarez over Truex. That's not what you were telling me in the Discord chat. Funny you always say the opposite in here, trying to lower ownership. Jack says, hop to the rear. Oh no, he was already there anyway. Already there. If anyone has concerns they were playing Houff when he's going to the rear, that shouldn't change your mind. Jay says, what's up, Go? What's up, Jay? Who are your must-have today? Thoughts on Ricky wreck today? Hopefully he doesn't wreck today. I know he got wrecked last week. No fault of his own, though. Cody Ware just kind of killed our lineups really early on. Daniel Suarez, Ricky Stenhouse both died. I had a large chunk of my lineups with both of those guys, both some of my favorite tournament plays, and Cody Ware was having none of that. Must have faded them in DraftKings, but must-haves today. I kind of like all the JGR cars. Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex. I'm huge fans of those guys, and other guys like Christopher Bell and Kyle Busch as well. I love the JGR cars. I think they are going to have a very strong race. Not to say we can't play other teams. I like Joey Logano quite a bit, Keselowski, and some of the Hendrick cars are always going to be playable, but I'm thinking this is going to be a JGR race. Joshua says, how accurate is it to refer to Bubba as the 5th JGR car? Well, I mean, it's pretty much true. Pretty much true. It's just he's obviously not going to be in quite the ride the other JGR cars are in, but I like Bubba today. I think he should have a decent run relative to his price point, and I think after we get a full off season under our belts and we're actually going to have practice and the shops are going to be open up every single race next year, I think Bubba can definitely make some strides next season. And if Kurt Busch happens to join the team, which it sounds like that's going to be likely, I think having a veteran driver like that will certainly help. Franchise says Ross or Matt. I like Ross Chastain over Matt. I think Matt DiBenedetto is an interesting narrative play. I think someone said that in the chat earlier. I forgot to mention that. But, I mean, just for the narrative, I think it's decent. I mean, the past couple races here, he's finished 5th and 6th, and one of those was in the 95 car. The 21 car, Penske typically runs pretty well at these short flat tracks. So I think MDB is a decent pivot play. I think a lot of people are going to play Christopher Bell, especially how he did yesterday in Xfinity. So if you're just looking for a pivot for leverage there, I think MDB's got some upside. Plus, he starts a little bit further back. And obviously, if I missed your question, just please re-ask it. I'm just kind of at the bottom of the chat right now, just so I don't have to keep you 20 minutes behind. I like to stay up to date here. Edwin says, can we use pasta manta? You can use some pasta, not too much though. Don't think this is a pasta heavy kind of Sunday, but if you want to sprinkle in anywhere from like 5 to 15%, I would not hate you for it. Just trying to get a little bit different down low because we can't play 100% of guys like Corey LaJoie, so we got to get different a little bit. Dude says, still a few spots left. Check Chris's Twitter account for the link. Yeah, if you guys are just now getting here, if you want into the contest, just go to my Twitter. It's ChrisPennell16, and it's my most recent tweet in the replies, and just click the link. Pugsley says, lineup is Denny, MTJ, Logano, Bell, Matty D, and Briscoe for tournaments. Considering moving Bell to Bowman and Matty D down to, say, Reddick, but not sure. I think that's fine how it is, Pugsley, and if you wanted to make a second lineup with those pivots, I think that's pretty good as well. I think guys like Matt DiBenedetto, Tyler Reddick, I think those guys are going to be pretty solid tournament plays today. I like Tyler Reddick quite a bit. I'm not sure if you guys agree with where he's starting, but I think he can hold that position. And he just feels like a little bit too cheap in my opinion. Like there is no reason he should be around $1,000 cheaper than a guy like Ryan Preece, even though there's no PD upside. I could see Tyler Reddick having a similar race to what he did last week where he started high, but he finished high as well. So I do like Tyler Reddick quite a bit at that price point. The guy is very, very talented driver. I'd like to see what he could do in like a real top of the level kind of team equipment. Chris says, I'm late but present. Hey, better late than never, man. Glad you're here. Chris says, Half and Cash Games gives you Kyle Busch, Logano, Truex, and Hamlin, then choice of Briscoe, Alfredo, and LaJoie. I can't do Half and Cash Games. I mean, the other guys, they look great, but I cannot play Quinn Half and Cash. I don't think there's a reason for it. The upside is very, very limited. I wouldn't limit yourself in cash like that. Kind of seems like an unnecessary risk in my opinion. Ron says, thoughts on Burton running next year? I'm not huge in the Xfinity series, so I don't have a strong take on that. I saw some people on Twitter that day. They were very fired up about it. I was just kind of watching, seeing how people were feeling. I mean, I say give him a shot. We'll see how he does. I don't think Matty D tore it up in the 21 car. I mean, yeah, if Matty D was winning races and stuff and they kicked him to the curb, I'd probably be a little more upset about that. I like Matty D. I think he's a cool driver and everything. Like, obviously, the fans like him. I like him as well, but it's not exactly like he tore it up in the 21 cars, so I guess we'll have to see how Burton does. Cameron says, I'm going to try Hot Dog Newman. I like that name, Hot Dog Newman. And a few lineups for Cross Your Fingers Dark Horse. I have a decent chunk of Ryan Newman. I think in my video I said I don't think we're going to have to play a ton of him, but I was building lineups. I found myself using Ryan Newman, Ricky Stenhouse, and Ross Chastain a lot in my lineups just to, because I'm pretty heavy on like Truex, Hamlin, and I don't really have to go down to the bottom range too much. So I found myself filling in my lineups with those low 7K guys. So unfortunately, once again, I have a good chunk of Ryan Newman, but he's had some decent finishes here. Jay says, thoughts on Chase Briscoe and Jones today? Two guys I'm not super high on. Like, both have limited top 15 potential. I'd probably rather play Jones over Suarez over Chase Briscoe, but not huge fans of both. But I think I have around 10 to 20% of both those drivers, so nothing too significant there. Not really guys I'd target in 3 max, or at 20 max I'd probably throw in a couple. Let's see. Jim says, hey Chris, why is Harvick such high in demand? Why is Harvick such high in demand? Do you mean for like DraftKings today? I don't think a lot of people are going to be playing Harvick. I feel like Harvick might be one of the lowest owned, like, upper level drivers today, because everyone's going to be playing guys like Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Brett Keselowski, Martin Truex. People are going to play the Hendrick cars like Kyle Larson, not Kyle Busch, he's not in the Hendrick car, but William Byron. So I don't really think Kevin Harvick's going to be in high demand whatsoever today for DFS purposes. even though he's been very good here, but he's pretty much good at every single track, and that really hasn't translated yet this season. Stewart-Haas cars have definitely been way behind. NM says, Chris, you making any lines on Prize Picks? There's a couple of things I liked over on Prize Picks, and if you guys do want to check it out, you can use the code C pinned down below. I know, quick little plug there in the live stream, but I believe it was Christopher Bell over 30 points. I think Joey Logano over 33, and then there was one other one I liked. I want to say it was Ricky Stenhouse over 21, if that's the right number. So those are a few of the picks I liked quite a bit over there. Thought that Ricky Stenhouse one was pretty soft, because if Ricky Stenhouse just gets a top 20, which I think he's easily capable of doing, he can get over the points there. Jason says, "What's up? Watch Hamlin wins today." I think Hamlin wins today. I mean that's the guy I'm picking. Projections like him quite a bit. Him and Truex are kind of right up like 1-2 today. Would not be surprised if either wins, but I definitely think a JGR car is taking it home, and I think Hamlin can get that first win. He's definitely looking very, very good to me. He's been pretty much the best dominator in the short flat track so far this season. Eric says JGR is going to be pretty high owned today as a whole, right? Yeah, JGR I would assume are going to be, like, if you just put all the teams together and added up their ownership, JGR should be the highest owned team. I mean, I think everyone likes them. They're fairly priced, and it's very easy to fit those guys in. Let's see. Natalie says, good luck today, everyone. Yeah, good luck to you as well, Natalie. What's up, Terry? What's up, Kevin? Up for my nap? Let's do this. Yeah, for sure. Chris says, cash game head-to-head, Hamlin and Bubba, or Kyle Busch and Lee Joy. I'm going to go Hamlin and Bubba there. I know Kyle Busch is on the pole. He could easily lead a lot of laps, but I'm a big fan of Denny Hamlin today. Plus, I think him and Truex are probably going to be the two highest owned drivers on the slate. Looking at my projected ownership, I have those two as the highest owned. I'm pretty sure. Then else will be close, but Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex should definitely be the highest owned dominators today. Yeah, I figured my dad would like that. I'm in love with Denny Hamlin today. I'll be having him in my lineups. I'm sure almost all of us in the contest are going to be playing him, and I think we all know he's definitely going to be playing Denny Hamlin as well. So we're going to be right there with you. I'll definitely be rooting on Denny Hamlin. Effie says, CP, thoughts on C-Bell? Will he back up the good run yesterday? I think Christopher Bell is like a good bet to get a top 5 finish today. He was running really well here last year, and that was in the 95 car. I forget exactly what happened. If someone can refresh my memory, I forget if it was an issue on pit road or if he got spun out or something. But he was running really, really well. He was very expensive, though, because he was starting in the back. But he had an issue where he finished 28th. But in the Xfinity Series, he's crushed it here. You saw what he did before that, dominated one. He's been good at the short flat tracks this year and just short tracks in general. So I'm a huge fan of Christopher Bell. I know he's starting inside the top 10, but I don't care. He's just too underpriced in my opinion. Absolutely love Christopher Bell today. Kevin says Hamlin and Truex are getting negative points today. They better not. Jay says, why is Ryan Preece so high today? Just because he is good at his home track? I have the same question you do. I think that's an absolutely insane price tag of Ryan Preece. I really can't justify playing him. If you want to play him in like 3% of your 150 max lineups, you can, but there is no reason to play Ryan Preece over guys like Ryan Newman, Stenhouse, and Ross Chastain today. I think they are much better plays. Christopher Bell, MDB, he's pretty much the worst play in that range, to be honest. Once you factor in like point per dollar. Stenhouse or Reddick? I'll go with Stenhouse there. Both are good plays, but Stenhouse is definitely the cash game play. Reddick's a good play in tournaments. Doug says, do you think there will be a lot of dupes in DK Cash? Probably today. I mean, it's pretty easy to build lineups, and I saw a lot of people sending me the same kind of lineup. It's, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr. Then you take your picks of some low 7K guys like Ricky Stenhouse, Ryan Newman, Ross Chastain. It's pretty easy to land on the same lineup today, so there's definitely going to be some dupes. Which is why in tournaments you can pivot off of a couple of those guys and try to get yourself some leverage. Like, instead of playing Christopher Bell like everybody else, you could pivot to MDB or a guy that no one's going to play, Austin Dillon. That's a good leverage spot, even though I don't love Austin Dillon today. But if you're just hunting for lower ownership, I think he makes sense there. Oh, let's see. Michael says, what about Joey and Martin? Oh, yeah, I love both those guys. Those are like two of my 3 favorite plays in the entire slate today. Love Joey's like, his average finish at short flat track since 2020 is insane. Like, he has not had a bad race. Newman or Stenhouse? I'll go with Stenhouse there. Both are good plays, but definitely prefer Stenhouse. Let's see. Is Christopher Bell good even in cash games? So I was kind of struggling with that as well, because Christopher Bell, I love him today. I love the price tag. I think you can play him in cash games, but just know there is risk for where he's starting. Personally, a guy like Ryan Newman, Ross Chastain's a little bit safer, Ricky Stenhouse, but if you want to throw Christopher Bell in there, I don't hate it because I love the upside. I mean, he should be around $9,000, I think, so I'm loving this price tag. Bit iffy for cash games, though, but I wouldn't hate if you stretch him in there. He's kind of like a fringe cash play. Thoughts on Brad K? I like Brad K quite a bit. Now, it's weird because in 2020, he was like the guy at short flat tracks. He was really good in the 750 package. And this year, it's kind of flip-flop. He's been, pretty solid in the 550, but he's not been that great in the 750. But I'd not be surprised if that changes because Penske overall is just really good at short flat tracks. He's the most recent winner here at New Hampshire. So I'm liking Brad K in tournaments quite a bit because he's priced right in between Truex and Joey Logano, and both those guys are going to be two of some of the highest owned drivers on the slate. So naturally, Keselowski will get a little bit overlooked. Don't think he's going to be absolutely low owned. Like he's not going to be below 15% or anything, but he could be in the low to mid 20s, which I feel like he could be closer to 30%. His likely chances of being optimal. So do like Brad K today quite a bit in tournaments. Probably not going there in cash games though. Joshua says, fading Logano, is that bold? Yeah, it's probably bold today. I mean, he's going to be very high owned. I very well should be over 30% owned today in pretty much any format that you're playing. So it is bold. I don't personally like that, but, I wouldn't say Joey's been the absolute best driver so far this season, but I do love him at short flat tracks. I like Joey Logano quite a bit today. What's up, Rich? Hello, everyone, and good luck. Thank you very much, man. Joel says Bubba today. I like Bubba a little bit just because of the price point. He's cheap, and I need some cheaper drivers down there. I don't really love that range too much, so I'm kind of landing on Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace quite a bit. I think he's got top 15 upside. Sincere says, don't know why I'm asking, but how do you feel about Mcdowell? I don't really like Mcdowell too much today. I feel like I have around 10%, just I don't want to play like 50% Bubba Wallace, 50% Eric Jones, so just try to get a little bit different down there, but I'm not a huge fan of Michael Mcdowell. I mean, he's been better in the 550 this season compared to the 750, and that hasn't really been close either. Let's see. Austin says Newman, Chastain, or Bell, Bubba, and I feel like we had the same lineup question, Austin, because I was to the point where my lineup I was deciding between that two. And personally, for me in cash games, I felt like Newman, Chastain was safer, and then Bell, Bubba was better in tournaments. And since you said you're playing a tournament, I feel like Bubba and Bell might be the best way to go there. Brett says, does making a GPP lineup with nobody starting outside of the top 20 make me contrarian or an automatic loss? I mean, history would tell you it's probably not the smartest thing to do, but I mean, I could see myself making lineups today that would look pretty good like that. Like we could play Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Truex. I mean, that sounds good. If they all finish in like the top 10, it's certainly possible that could be optimal. So I don't hate that. It could work out today. This doesn't look the greatest on paper, but Let's see, we have Andy here. What's up, Andy? Radar is looking better and better per Bob. Awesome. Yesterday it looked like this was going to be an automatic rain out. I was already kind of talking about having the race on Monday, which I wouldn't have minded. And just chill all Sunday, but hopefully we don't have to deal with any weather. I hate it when it gets to the point where it's halfway and it could get called early, so I don't think that's going to be that shouldn't be in the cards today. And there's no lights in New Hampshire either, so. Jordan says, Kurt Busch or Ryan Blaney? I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney there. I know Kurt Busch, if you're looking at the game log, I mean, over 100 points last week, but Ryan Blaney, he's part of Team Penske. Team Penske's been running really well at these tracks since 2020, and I think Blaney's got some sneaky top 5 upside, plus he's not overly expensive either, and there's a little bit more P upside than Kurt Busch. I'm going to go with Ryan Blaney, plus he's the guy on my shirt, so maybe I'm being a little bit biased there. You can factor that into the answer I gave you. Dudley says, any Larson love? Oh, that reminds me. I think someone earlier asked if I'm going to be under on Larson today. I'm trying to be even on the field with Larson. Like, it's not that hard to fit him in. Like, I can play, like, a good chunk of all the dominators I want and still throw in a large chunk of Larson just because he's Kyle Larson and still feel pretty good about it. So I have a decent chunk of Larson. I'm not fading him. I mean, he's been good everywhere this year. I don't know. I'm kind of worried. I feel like the Hendrick cars are maybe falling off a little bit. I know there was that rumor about NASCAR, or I guess it wasn't a rumor, it was facts that they told him not to keep bringing that nose. So we'll see. I mean, they've still been good. And there was Kyle Larson should have won the first Pocono race, blew a tire. William Byron was going to win, then he ran out of gas. I mean, they've still been good. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to try to figure out what to do with the Hendrick cars, but I still like Kyle Larson today because of the PD upside. In this package, he has led the most laps and the most fast laps. Now, if you take away Dover, that's not the case, and that's. Dover's not really a similar track whatsoever here to New Hampshire, so if you do want to throw that out, it's been Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex. Eric says nosegate, yep. Michael says there's no real chalk plays today. Yeah, I would say there's some pretty chalky plays today. Like Martin Truex, he's he's going to be probably like close to 50% owned today, in my opinion, at that price point. So I would say there's definitely a few chalky plays. But if what you mean is like there's so many good plays that there's not going to be like an overabundance of a big chalk guy, I can see what you mean there. And there's a lot of, that's why I'm kind of spread out today, because there's a lot of good plays. Like there's no Ryan Newman at $6,000 starting in 30th today. So I see what you mean there. Franchise says Chase is a good pivot in my opinion. If you're looking for really low ownership, Chase is the pivot. I personally do not like Chase today, but that's not to say that he can't have a good race. I mean, he was really good at the short flat tracks last year. I hate to kind of bring that up because we're pretty deep into 2021 at this point. But Truex is going to be chalky. Kyle Busch is going to have plenty of ownership. Denny Hamlin. So Chase Elliott, I mean, he's going to go definitely overlooked. And if he gets the best jump on the race, he could easily lead laps early on. Savage says, do you think Kyle can lead first stage? I personally think Truex is going to get him, or Hamlin at some point. So I don't really think he's going to lead the entire first stage, but he's going to lead some laps early on. I don't think it's going to be enough to be optimal over some other guys. Oh, you're welcome, Dad. Appreciate it. Best of luck in whatever you're doing up there. But thank you for stopping by for sure. And go Denny Hamlin today. Jared says Blaney's shirt is out, but no mason jar. I kind of forgot the mason jar. I got the small glass today, which I think I'm going to run out of water pretty quick, so I'm going to have to limit my drinking here every so often. Welcome, Brett. The Blaney fan club rides again. Hey, hope so. Hope so. It's been a while. It's been a while, man. I feel like last year we were always just talking about Blaney every single slate. That just really hasn't been the case this year. Jack says Byron going to be unowned at that price, correct? Yeah, I think Byron's going to be pretty low owned. And the thing is, at the 750 package this season, William Byron's been very good. If we can bring it up, I believe he's got the best average finish of all drivers in this package so far this season. So track type form here, we have 6 races, excluding road courses and things like that. William Byron's average finish is at 5. I believe Kyle Larson's second best at 5.8. And then we had Logano at 6.5. So I think someone asked the question of who the best drivers were in this aero package, and this can kind of help you answer. Personally, I think it's going to be the Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr. show today, though. They've both been very, very good. Okay, let's see. Bowman or Logano? Logano pretty easy for me, especially if price isn't an issue, because I think they're around $1,300 difference in price tag. I don't know if that's a FanDuel question, but I like both, but definitely Joey for me. Let's see, Matthew says you have a problem with LaJoie moving to the back. That doesn't change anything for me. He's pretty close to the back anyway. Yeah, he's going to lose a little bit of track position, but it's a long race. He should be just fine. I think LaJoie's a decent cheap play today. Nothing that I'm not like running into plug Corey LaJoie in my lineups, but I think he's fine down low. Eric says, please keep spreading. I figured he was trolling as well, trying to lower ownership. Let's see. OS says thoughts on Reddick. I think Reddick is a very similar play to where he was last week, where he was cheap, starting close to the front, so it kind of made him risky, but I think he can kind of hang around where he starts. I think he's a pretty good tournament play today. I do have a decent chunk of Tyler Reddick at that price point. Luis says, choose one chalk play to pass on. Hamlin, Truex, Stenhouse, Logano, or Bell. Who? That's tough because I do like all of them. If I had to pass on one of them, and that's not to say I want to pass on Stenhouse today, but if I had to pass on one, I would say Stenhouse because there's some really good plays right beside him, like Ryan Newman and Ross Chastain. That's the only reason why. But I like all of them. You're welcome, Joel. FE says, so do we fade Blaney since you're wearing the shirt? I don't know, do we have any statistics to back up how Blaney has done in this shirt when I've worn it on a stream? I feel like he does maybe somewhat better. I don't know. I do like Blaney at that price point today, though. He's looking like a really good point per dollar play. Cola says weather. It looks like it's kind of getting a little bit better. Yesterday looked pretty terrible, but last I saw, Bob said it's looking pretty good weather-wise. I don't know if anybody's in New Hampshire. Kay says, who's the best pivot off of Recchi, Chastain, Reddick, or Bubba? I like Chastain quite a bit. He's been good in this package this season, so I'd say the direct pivot off of him would be the Watermelon Man there. Kevin says it's not trolling, it's the truth. Negative points is a good possibility for both today. Definitely wouldn't say that. I mean, if you're looking at their numbers in this package this year, maybe at a super speedway, yes, but not at a short flat track. Don says, you got the 100 spot in the YouTube contest. You're welcome for the $3 contribution. Thank you, Shady. Thank you. I mean, this is the man that's been on fire. I think you're probably due for a takedown today, too, so hopefully we can get that again. Before we go on a little bit of a break here. Jason says, wrong, Kevin. Hamlin wins today. I think Denny Hamlin wins today as well. I think he's a very, very good play today. Gary says, I won first place last night on a $1 lineup for MMA. Oh, nice, man. First place paid out $4,000, but I was tied with 38 other people. Paid out $297. Not bad, but sucks when tied with that many, yeah, for sure. And that's a problem that happens in UFC quite a bit because it's such a small player pool. Kind of similar to NASCAR, but it's even a smaller player pool for MMA. So there's definitely usually a lot of ties quite a bit. And actually, I actually played 150 max UFC for the Connor and Dustin fight, and I didn't do terrible. I lost a little bit, but I didn't do terrible. It was pretty fun. Let's see, Daniel says thoughts. A lot of Tyler Reddick questions today. He might be a little bit higher owned than I thought, but I like Tyler Reddick quite a bit. I feel like he's kind of like the same exact play as he was last week. Chris says Hamlin, Logano, Truex, Chastain, Stenhouse, and Newman for cash games. Anyone you recommend getting in that I am overlooking? When I was building a cash lineup, that's exactly what I landed on, Chris. I mean, there's a variation where you could go Bell and Bubba, or if you wanted to drop one of those 7K drivers for another one. I mean, that's another way you could work out, but I actually think that's probably one of the best ways to go today for cash games. I mean, it's very safe. You got the 3 dominators I like, and you don't have to dip into that 6 or 5K range, so I really think that's a good lineup. Bryson says Stenhouse or Di Benedetto. I personally like Stenhouse quite a bit today. Di Benedetto's a fine tournament play. He's a nice pivot off of Stenhouse, but I definitely prefer Ricky Stenhouse overall. See, Don says, hate the late scratches after you're committed in UFC. Oh, well, see, when I built I've only done it once. I did it after there was a late scratch, so fortunately I didn't have to redo my lineups. But I feel like every single week there's a late scratch in UFC, which is weird. Harvick top 5. I wouldn't bet on it. I think all the JGR cars are definitely have potential to get top 5. I think another guy will get mixed in there as well. Could potentially be Kevin Harvick, but I also think it could be some of the Penske cars. So I wouldn't bet on it. Maybe like a top 8, but I don't think Kevin Harvick finds himself in the top 5 when it's all said and done. Now he might, but I don't think that'll be enough for him to be optimal in DraftKings today either way. Brett says, as of right now, I'm 100% on Bubba. What could possibly go wrong? Oh my gosh. That sounds very scary. 100% on Bubba Wallace today. I thought I had a good chunk of Bubba, but I don't have nearly that much. Jim says, thoughts on Jones GVP play for DK? I don't hate that. I don't love it either, but starting in 24th, he offers you more PD upside than most in that range, so don't hate it, but not overly confident in Eric Jones today. If he was in the 20 car, sure. 43 car definitely has limited upside, unfortunately, which is a shame because I like Eric Jones. He's one of my favorite drivers. And if you're just getting here, not for DK today, just in general as a fan. Brett says, how do you feel about Eric Amarillo? I was hoping someone would ask something about Eric Amarillo. I like Eric Amarillo a lot today. I think he's one of the better tournament plays on the slate. Just got in here, not sure if you already answered. Thanks for everything you do. No problem, Brett. Do appreciate you stopping by. You guys make the stream fun for me. But Amarillo is a really good play today. His best finishes have been at short flat tracks this year. I think it's like a 4th place finish at, I know Phoenix and Richmond. I forget the exact finishes he had. I have to pull him up, but he's been good at short flat tracks this year. He's got a couple of top 10 finishes, and usually in the 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing in this package, short flat tracks, they've been pretty kind to Eric Amarillo, and he's always had his best races this season. I know he's a little bit expensive, $8,400, but I think he's a pretty good play today. I think there's some sneaky top 10 upside. Well, I believed you for a second, Oliver, until the very end when you said that. I'm not going to read that out loud, but you people are silly. Big Gooder says, what about K. Bush? Do you mean Kurt or Kyle? I don't really like Kurt today at all. Kyle, I do like Kyle. I think he's a decent dominator play today. I prefer all of his teammates over him, but that's not to say I'm fading Kyle Busch. I still have a good chunk of Kyle Busch, just not as much as his JGR teammates. But I'm not sure which K. Busch you're talking about there. Franchise says, screw it, I'm playing Chase. He's going to be really low today. Probably below 15%. I don't think a lot of people are playing Chase. I don't really like him that much, but it can work out. Bubba or Custer? Oh, gosh. I think my projections like Custer just a little bit more, but I want to say Bubba there. I think I have the same exact exposure to Bubba and Custer, though, but I'll say Bubba. I feel like there's a little bit more upside with him. Thoughts on Custer, any? He's fine. I mean, he's a fine price play. He's only, what, $6,300, right? Yeah, Custer's $6,300, starting in 21st. I don't hate it. I think the Stewart-Haas cars could run well today. I mean, besides Kevin Harvick, I do like Eric Amarillo. I like Cole Custer. I don't really love Chase Briscoe that much, but they're kind of cheap. So, they're kind of in a weird spot today. What do we think of Larson? Has Hendrick been caught on to now, or do we have the faith? I still have a good chunk of Kyle Larson today. I have William Byron. I have Alex Bowman. I'm not really playing Chase Elliott, so I like the other three guys. And, I mean, they've been good. I know they kind of feel like they're falling off a little bit, but I still think that people might be overreacting a little bit too much to a couple of races. I don't think they're going to be like junk or anything, so I still like Kyle Larson, the Hendrick crew. Not as much as the JGR cars, though. I think this is a JGR race. Eric says I don't get the hype on Bowman today. It's just because of the price point. Like, if he finishes around like 4th or 5th or 6th place, which is, you know, obviously something he could do. He wanted a short flat track earlier this season. It's mainly the price thing, because if he can just pick up fast laps along the way and get a good finish, I mean, this $8,200. If he was $9,000, I'm probably not playing any Bowman, but $8,200 price below guys like Kurt Busch, Eric Amarillo, right beside Chris Buescher. It's mainly just a price play for me, with the upside that he could get up front and dominate. Not that's something I'm expecting, but it's certainly in the cards for him, and that's just way too cheap of a price point. Logano or Brad? I like Joey over Brad today, but both are good tournament plays. Joey, though, he's safe in cash games. Terry says, who runs for JGR? We have Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., and Christopher Bell. Bubba Wallace, he's kind of the 5th JGR car. I mean, not really, but kind of like how Matthew Benedetto is like the 4th Penske car. But I don't know, it's kind of like that. Reddick or Chastain? I prefer Chastain just because of the extra PD upside. I feel like Chastain is probably not going to finish quite as high as Tyler Reddick, but you know, the PD should offset that. Bubba to the rear. It doesn't really change anything for me. If people get off of Bubba just because of that, I think that makes him a better play, because like we didn't really expect Bubba to get out front and dominate at some point. So as long as by the end of the race he's around like 10th to 15th place, I'll be happy. I don't really care that Bubba's going to the rear for DFS purposes. Do appreciate you guys letting me know, but for DFS purposes, it doesn't really change anything at all for me. Dude says thoughts on Suarez. I'm surprised we haven't got more Suarez questions. We did early on, but it's just a steep price tag for me. I don't have much. Like, I'd rather play the guys that have upside to dominate. Like, Daniel Suarez will probably pick up around 15 spots today, but I want to take shots on guys that can take me down a tournament with Ryan Blaney, Martin Truex, that can lead a bunch of laps today. Could easily outscore him if they get up front. You're welcome, Terry. Bodie in the Ove says, any prize picks you like? I mentioned them earlier. I'm sure you just got here, but there was a couple last night I was looking at. I liked Christopher Bell over 30, because all he has to do is pretty much get a top 10 for that, which I think is probably going to happen today. Joe Logano over 33, because his numbers at short flat tracks have been insane. And then the other one I believe was Ricky Stenhouse over 21 points, which is like a top 20 finish, which as long as he doesn't wreck, he should be able to get that. So a couple of the guys I like quite a bit over there in prize picks today. Oliver says, is there any merit to playing guys in the bubble for playoffs? Seems like they'd want to race hard. Yeah, I mean, you can. It's just, it's not going to make them faster than the other cars. I mean, some of those guys you can play, though. But it's not something I'm really going to consider for DFS purposes. Maybe until we get to, like, really close to when the playoffs start, but. Spread says Bubba headed to his natural habitat. You know, recently Bubba's not been bad. I was just looking at his scores recently, and it kind of surprised me how good he's been. Rich says, I live 25 miles from the track. It's clearing up here now. It rained the hardest I've ever seen earlier this morning. It was a monsoon, but things are drying up now. Well, thank you, Rich. Nice to have somebody in the area, so you can keep us updated if anything starts happening, but hopefully that rain stays away. And I'm right there with you. It was raining super hard yesterday where I was at. Like, I don't know if it's the same system, but it was terrible. See, Austin says Bubba to the rear. That is the rumor right now. I keep getting the Bob bot messages on Discord. I have a bot that sends every Bob tweet in the Discord chat, so that's been going off, but I haven't been able to read what they say. Oliver says, is 5 dominators too many? Who are those dominators, Oliver? Can you tell me? I'm assuming maybe like Bowman, Blaney, some of the cheaper ones. I'd be interested to hear how you made that work. Brett says, what about Mcdowell? I personally like Mcdowell better in the 550 package, but I have a little bit of Mcdowell today just to kind of differentiate down low, but I'm not super confident in him. He hasn't been this great in this package this season. Franchise says the only guy I could see bursting the playoff bubble was Ross. Yeah, that's certainly possible too. And he's already driving highly motivated because, you know, Chip Ganassi got sold out. And I already like Chastain as a play anyway today, even without a narrative like that. So that makes you like him even better. I say go for it. Franchise says it's not going to change anything. If you're referring to the Bubba thing going to the rear, I totally agree. I don't think it changed anything for me. You'll see some MC sub, but it's not gonna be like a Atlanta or Darlington or something like that. Oliver likes Ricky Bobby in today's race. I think they put that movie on Netflix recently. I love that movie. I have to watch it before the next Talladega race. Gets me pumped for Talladega. Alright, I'm gonna scroll up and see if I missed anything really quick. Daniel says, Big Ritter, which one, Kyle or Kurt? Oh yeah, did he ever answer that? I wasn't sure if he was talking about Kurt Busch or Kyle Busch. It's not. Anyway. Clay says, tournament play, pick one, LaJoy, Alfredo, and Briscoe. Whew. It's between Briscoe and LaJoy for me. I know LaJoy is going to the rear, but it doesn't really change anything for me too much. If I had to pick one, I guess I'd say Chase Briscoe, just because he's only $6,000. He's dirt cheap, starting at 19th. He could gain a few spots. I don't hate it. Don't love it either, but I don't hate it. Blaney or Eric? Blaney definitely has more upside to dominate in this race. Eric's a little bit safer for where he's starting. If I had to pick one, I guess I'll say Blaney. I don't know if that's me being biased. I mean, I got the shirt on for a reason, but I feel like Blaney's got a higher ceiling today. Eric's probably a little bit safer, though. Franchise says I have Briscoe in, so don't feel bad. I mean, he's not a bad play at his price point. Like, he is really cheap, $6,000. I mean, I don't think he's been cheaper this season, has he? I don't think he's dipped into the 5K range. So if you want to buy low, I don't hate it. And I think the Stewart-Haas cars today could surprise us maybe a little bit. Jorge says, talking about Monsoon, you should have seen the Red Sox game. Funny how the umps called the game after the Yankees took the lead. Yeah, and I was there. I didn't know what to do with Garrett Cole yesterday because, I was reading all the weather reports, and then the beat reporters said that the bases aren't even on the field, and looks like it's going to get delayed, and then the time they scheduled the start was when the rain was supposed to be there, so it was kind of I really didn't know what to do with Garrett Cole last night, but he ended up kind of dominating. I think he had around 35, 38 fantasy points. Brett says, DiBenedetto, Austin Dillon, or Stenhouse, which one you go with? Stenhouse for me between those three. And I'd rank those guys, Stenhouse, MDB, and Austin Dillon. Jim says, trying to finish my lineup, Larson, Kyle Busch, or Byron on DK. If you can fit in Kyle Larson, I'll go with Kyle Larson between those guys. Tim says, just got in here, who's going to the rear? We have Bubba Wallace going to the rear, Ryan Preece, Corey LaJoy. I feel like there's someone I'm forgetting, although he wasn't super important to me. They were all pretty much in the back. So whoever's going to the rear today, it means pretty much nothing to me. I think they're kind of all the same. Bigger says, I meant Kurt. Oh, I'm not really a big fan of Kurt Busch today. I know people might be chasing those points that he had last week, but I just don't see that happening today. He is probably my least favorite play besides... Even that, he's probably pretty much my least favorite play in that price range, really. Big Boy says, Bell, MDB, Stenhouse, Reddick, Chastain, pick 3. So I'm definitely picking Bell. I'm definitely picking Stenhouse. Then it's between MDB and Reddick, Chastain. I'll go Chastain. So Bell, Stenhouse, and Chastain. Jorge says, I definitely love the Candyman at New Hampshire. Rowdy Nation for sure. I mean, yeah, he's got a good history at New Hampshire, and Kyle Busch has pretty much been back this year. Like, he is no longer like the COVID-era Kyle Busch. He looks pretty much back. Looks like he can be a dominant force at every single track. He's been better in the 550 package this year. That's why I'm kind of giving the edge over to guys, his teammates like Truex and Hamlin. But Kyle Busch could certainly be a factor to lead laps today, especially on the pole. But I just don't like him as much as his teammates. Oliver says, I'm not wasting my money on any Stewart-Haas guys. I totally understand that. They've been definitely pretty much the hardest team to trust this year. They have been absolutely terrible. I barely have any Kevin Harvick today, if any. I just like some of the cheaper guys. You're welcome, Jim. Thanks for stopping by. You guys make it a great show. I'm just here answering questions. So the more you guys interact, the better it is. Sleepy Joe says, Kessler Logano race matchup. I'll go Logano there. He's just been kind of flawless at short flat tracks. So I'll put my money on Joey there. Jet says, which 3 above 9K are you lowest on? Let's see, 3. I'm definitely lowest on Chase and Harvick off the top of my head. Then the next guy I would say is probably William Byron. I don't dislike William Byron. It's just I like some of the other guys around him better. Ryan says, what does Bubba starting in the back mean for DFS? So he's going to keep his original starting spot, which I believe is 18th place. It's kind of small on my screen. I got it minimized because I'm on the stream overlay, but he's going to keep his original starting spot. It's going to go to the rear, scored from 18th place, but it doesn't really change anything for DFS purposes because it's a long race. Now, if a dominator goes to the back, like if Kyle Busch goes to the rear, I'm probably not playing any Kyle Busch. It's a lot different when we have a potential dominator because losing that track position is going to hurt, especially the guys on the pole. If a guy that I'm just kind of playing for finishing position upside, like Bubba, I don't really care. At the end of the race, he should be there where we'd expect him to be at the end, unless he has an issue. MC Sub says, okay, final question. It's probably a no-brainer. Larson and Half or Suarez and Bell? I can't do Half, so I'm going to go Suarez and Bell there. I can't do Quinn Half. Brian says, thoughts on Haley? Probably unneeded today. Like, pricing is very soft. It's very, very soft today. Unless you're just trying to jam in Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, William Byron all together, I don't really see need to drop down that low. Like, in 150 max, I have like 2-3% Justin Haley, so I don't really see a need to even go even close to down that low today. You're welcome, Ryan. I forget what I told you. What was your question? I forget. Oh, never mind. Bubba going to the back. Yeah, if you're brand new to DFS, a lot of people kind of get confused with drivers going to the rear, like they're going to be scored from the back. And if that was the case, they'd be some of the best plays in the slate, but that's not the case. Dude says, are you considering the MDB narrative now that he is officially out of the 21 car next year and is currently looking for a ride, chip on his shoulder perhaps? So even without the narrative, I think MDB would be a good tournament play today because he's been pretty good at New Hampshire. Finishes at 5th and 6th recently. Pretty much a Penske car. They're good at short flat tracks. So I think even without that, he'd be a good tournament play today, and actually up my ownership on him this morning because I felt like I was a little bit too low on him. And I feel like I didn't really talk him up too much in the video, but I kind of persuaded myself in adding a little bit more. Some of the guys are making good points in Discord, and I was like, looking into it, I can kind of get behind that. And the narrative obviously helps things as well. So, yeah, I think MDB is a good tournament play. Alan says Suarez or Amarillo. Oh, man. I guess if price doesn't matter, Daniel Suarez there. Andy says, are you worried about Bell's ownership? So, at first when I made the preview video, I thought Bell might be maybe like low 20s in ownership, maybe upper teens because of where he's starting. Now what he did in Xfinity Series, and I feel like everyone's talking up Christopher Bell. He honestly might get close to 30% owned today. So, yes, that does kind of worry me for a guy starting inside the top 10 that I don't really expect to dominate, but I just had to up my Bell ownership because I love him a lot today, and I'm not getting off of him just because other people like him. So, I guess it's a little bit of a concern, but he's a good play. Oliver says Logano feels like a trap. His finishes haven't been great this season. Now, he's been pretty bad in the 550, but he's been better in the 750, which since we're in the 750 race, I think he's definitely going to have a good one, especially since it's a short flat track. Like, I'm willing to bet on Joe Logano having a good race today. But I would understand the fade. If you don't like Joey, you could pivot right to Brad, although his numbers in the 750 have been worse than Joey's. One more question for value, LaJoy and Custer, okay? If you're asking me to pick between the two, I'd say Custer, but if you're just asking if both are okay, yeah, they're both fine plays today. Prefer Custer, though. I feel like there's a little bit more upside there. Luis says, do you play Super Draft? Thoughts on Briscoe? I don't play Super Draft at all. I know there's like multipliers or something like that, but I'm going to be honest, I have no idea how that works. I don't want to give you an answer that I don't know the actual answer to sound smart, so I'm sorry there. You're on your own over there. You're welcome, MC. Good luck, everyone. Get back to you packing before the race. See you after the break. Oh, yeah, you're going somewhere? Hope you have a fantastic trip. That's the case. And thank you for stopping by for sure. Mr. Pillow says, how do we go about getting a Discord invite? Unfortunately, it's not like a public Discord. It's just something I have as a little benefit for the Patreon members, so it's on there. I mean, I hate plugging myself every all the time in the live stream, but it is on there if you guys ever want to join. It's like $10 a month if you don't want any of the extra content. But they're kind of blowing up the NASCAR Discord right now. It's kind of distracting me a little bit. Tim Scott says, Briscoe, LaJoy, or Jones? Ooh, man. I guess Jones between those guys. If I had to rank them, I'd say Jones, Briscoe, and LaJoy. And if you did want to sign up for the Discord and stuff, since it's like the last race for a couple weeks, I can just refund you as long as you continue your patronage throughout July. So, like on August 1st, I can hit you the refund button. But that's just if you want to. Obviously, you don't have to do that. But there's a lot of extra content over there that I think, or hope at least, people do enjoy. LJ says, what are the races that use the 750 package? So, LJ, it's going to be every track that's smaller than Darlington. Well, Darlington and smaller than Darlington, so under 1.3 miles in length. So, I would try to list them all, but I'm probably going to forget some. But, Dover, Darlington, all the short flat tracks, Martinsville, Bristol, Richmond, Phoenix, New Hampshire, obviously, and couple more I'm probably forgetting, but smaller tracks use the 750 package. And then everything above that, which is like 1.5 mile tracks, and the bigger tracks like Pocono, Indy in the past, although it's going to be a road course this year. Jet says, thoughts on Brad? Is he a good pivot or just throwing money away? I hope it's not throwing money away. I got a little bit of Brad Keselowski today, so I'm kind of riding with him because I think he's a great pivot off of Joey and Truex because those guys are going to be super chalky, like two of some of the highest owned drivers on the slate. So if I'm just looking for a little bit of leverage, I think Keselowski's in a really good spot. You're welcome, Alan. Thank you for stopping by, man. You guys make the stream fun for me. Albert says, I'm talking myself into playing Davison and Cash. So I would kind of reverse that and talk yourself out of it. I don't think you can play Davison and Cash. So I don't see the need for it, Like, I'd be interested to see what kind of drivers you're putting up top because I'm able to fit in Truex, Hamlin, Joey. I mean, you don't have to agree with me and play those three guys. I mean, that's what I prefer. But I don't really see myself having to go that low in cash games today. I'd be kind of interested to hear what you got. QC says, Truex and Hamlin or Truex and Larson? Truex and Hamlin for me. I love the JGR duo of those two guys today. Denny says, what do you mean by chalk? That's a good question. If you're like new to DFS stuff, chalk is like who everyone's going to. Like, so for example, today, Truex probably is going to be like around 45 to 50% owned today in the big tournament. That's my guess. It's kind of where my ownership projections are. That's chalk. Like, that means a lot of people are going to it. So, and then like guys like fading, like that means you're going to be underweight on them or just completely not playing. So I'm sure there's like a DFS glossary out there that if you're like brand new to it or if you don't understand like the lingo, you could look it up. I'm sure somewhere. Sleepy Joe says sneaky top 5 play. I mean, Bella's not sneaky anymore. I told someone on Twitter today, they asked me, who's a sneaky top 5 play today? I said Christopher Bell, and now that I think about it, I'm like, well, I bet that's like everyone's sneaky top 5 guy. So if you want to take Christopher Bell out of the equation for the sneaky top 5, maybe you got like MDB, Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick. Those could be sneaky top 5 plays today. Mike says, this might be ignorant, but may I ask what difference between 40 package and 30 package on Patreon? Then I'll get y'all's way. Okay, so I have optimizers, Mike. So the one without the optimizer is the $30 one because it's like 25 a package and it's just an extra 5 for all the sports. And the one with 40, you get the optimizer. So if you're not building a whole bunch of lineups, I wouldn't recommend getting the optimizer because it's probably wasting your time there. So that's the only difference. Sleepy, already answered that. Chris says, what do you think about Brad, Truex, and Hamlin in the same lineup? Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of Truex, Hamlin, Logano lamps together. I mean, it's just pivoting right off of Joey to Brad. I think that's totally fine today. A little bit lower owned, and Brad's usually really good at short flat tracks, plus he just won here in New Hampshire last year. I know he hasn't been as good this season in the 750 package, but I would not be surprised if that changes today. I think the Penske cars could surprise us a little bit. Albert says, I got Byron, Truex, Hamlin, Stenhouse, MDB, along with Davison and Cash. Okay. Yeah, I really just wouldn't go with Davison, to be honest. Like, Byron, maybe if you can get off of Byron to up your Davison. I don't really feel comfortable with Davison and Cash. I think in tournaments, he's actually not the worst absolute pump play down low. I just don't feel comfortable with like in cash games. Plus, his ownership's going to be like super, super low. And if anything happens to him, you're probably going to be screwed. Jack says, unrelated breaking news. Letitia Buffoni wins Women's X Games Street Skate and is an absolute... Yeah, I have no idea what any of that is. It sounds interesting, though. I used to play video games like that back in the day. X Games and stuff is fun. Thank you, Spread. I appreciate that. I tend to think the optimizer is pretty good as well. It's got all my ownership projections, and you can build 150 lineups, build groups, and change your exposures and things like that. Jorge says, like you said in your previous video, MTJ is underpriced, and knowing how good he is at short tracks, he'll definitely be highly owned. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Jorge. I'm not sure if you're kind of answering the question for the chalk thing, but everyone sees the same thing I do with Truex. Like, that is, it's not surprising. Like, it's not going to be anything sneaky. Truex is going to be chalky today. It's for good reason, though. Like, Truex should be around... I know he's starting close to the front. DraftKings doesn't really like pricing those guys up a little bit, but he should... If Kyle Busch on the pole is going to be close to 11K, I don't see why Truex shouldn't be either. I mean, Truex has 3 wins in this package this season. I know he's kind of fallen off a little bit from how good he was early in the season, but he looked fast last week at the end, and kind of a silly pricing, especially only $200 more than Daniel Suarez. Dude says, fun fact of the day. Did I miss something, dude? Oh. Chalk originates from the days when horse tracks didn't have computerized screens or tickers. They had to write odds on chalkboards. The horse's name that kept drawing action was covered in chalk dust. Here's your good educational lesson of the day from Dude. So I do appreciate that. That is very interesting. Stu says the same thing as well. Albert says Byron to Logano and pay up from Davison. I think that's a really good way to go, Albert. I mean, I hate talking off a guy like Byron because I think he's going to be a good play today, but if I can go down to Joey and get a better play from Davison, I'd feel a lot better with that. I feel like that's a lot better in cash games, personally. James says, thoughts on LaJoy? LaJoy, I think, is an interesting cheap play. I think people are going to kind of shy away from him because he's going to the rear, but he's already in the rear anyway. It doesn't really change anything for me, so I still like Corey LaJoy. I think he's a solid play today. Kyle says, thoughts on Dylan? I was about to ask which one, but I always forget there's no more two Dylans anymore. But I think Austin Dillon, I'm going to be honest, I don't really like him that much. He's a better play than Priest, but out of all those 7K drivers, I'd have him ranked as the second worst one. That's not like a diss to him because there's a lot of good 7K plays like Stenhouse, Newman, Chastain, Christopher Bell, MDB. I think they're all good plays. I have him below. I have Austin Dillon below those guys, so I'm not going to have much ownership on him, but 10 to 15% I think is fine today. Jorge says, the more you know, the better, yeah, for sure. Always, always, always good to have some extra education in here. Because people always ask. I think I usually get that question like once or twice a stream what chalk is. So Don says, Chris, what's up, Don? Amarillo, Bell, or Byron? Well, if price isn't an issue, easily Byron for me. If you're talking point per dollar wise, I think Bell would be the best play there. But if price doesn't matter, give me Byron for sure. Jorge says very knowledgeable people in this chat. I agree. And this chat's not full of trolls or anything. I mean, I know we have Hunter here sometimes, but that's a good chat. Really enjoy chatting with you guys. Makes the race day fun. And I'm probably going to switch this over to NFL on Sundays when that comes because, people aren't going to... We're not going to have a big audience for NASCAR right during when football starts, so I'll probably switch that over to NFL. Me and my buddy Andrew will do a stream together. We have something like that in the plans. So that'll be pretty fun, I think. FE says, Duke, you're awesome. I agree. He's the wrenchman for a reason. We all love him. PMJ says, hey, Chris, don't know if you answered, but how do we lower Bubba ownership now? PMJ, I personally don't care that Bubba's going to the rear. It does not change anything for me. Yes, he's going to lose some track position to start, but, I mean, I'm not using him as a dominator. He should be able to get back up there at some point in the race, so I think it's just fine. Maybe if you want to lower it a couple percentages, you can, but I don't really care about Bubba going to the rear today. Frankie says, my mans, what do you think about Byron, Bowman, Truex, Bell, Stenhouse, and New? I think that's a really good tournament lineup because Byron's not going to be super chalky. Bowman's going to have some ownership just because of his price point, but I think that's a good tournament lineup for sure. Chris says, do you treat a small field qualifier like cash games? A small field tournament, I would say like cash games, but for a qualifier, you need to get different in qualifiers. Like I've played in qualifiers before. Sorry, my nose is itchy if you're wondering what I'm doing. But qualifiers, man, it's either win or bust. Like, yeah, if you finish in second or third, you can get some of your money back. But in a qualifier, you need to get first place, or you're drawing dead. So, because I played my cash lineups in qualifiers before, and yeah, they do good, but there's always that one random play that ends up taking you down, unless the cash lineup happens to, be the nuts. But if you all tie for first place, you have to do like a second round tiebreaker for it. So I would try to get different in qualifiers. Like if everyone's playing Truex, Hamlin, Joey, you could go like Byron, Elliott, Keselowski or something just to get different. I know it doesn't feel the greatest on paper, but that's how you take down tournaments. You got to play some weird lineups. Or how you take down qualifiers, you got to play some weird lineups. I do appreciate around 300 people here watching. Thank you for stopping by. And if you haven't already, make sure you guys leave a like on the video. Helps me out. And subscribe if you're new. Sorry, I got to do a little quick plug there. Gary says, Bell and Reddick and same lineup. I think that's fine. I know they're starting close to the front, but I love their price points today. Love it. And if people are going to be scared to do that because of where they're starting, I think that makes them even better plays today for tournaments. Alan says, Kess or Suarez GPP? Oh, easily Kess for me. I know Suarez is starting in the rear, but Kess has a lot more upside than Suarez in my opinion. RC says, Byron or Hamlin for cash games? I'm going to go Denny Hamlin. I know Byron's got the more PD upside, but if you guys are just now getting here, I love Denny Hamlin today. I think all the JGR cars are pretty much the smash plays today. That would be Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch. I love these guys today. Not to say I don't like the other guys mentioned, but I'm loving JGR today. Absolutely loving it. I think Denny Hamlin probably will be the second highest owned dominator. I personally have him projected as the second highest owned play in the slate today, and I feel like the ownership projections are typically very accurate. So definitely think it's going to be a Denny Hamlin kind of day. Sean says, so wearing that Blaney shirt today, Chris, how you think he would do kind of high start position? I think he's a good play because of the price point. I think there's a little bit of dominator upside there. I'm not expecting him to dominate, but I think it's in the cards. And I felt like it was a good day to wear the Ryan Blaney shirt because I am playing a decent chunk of him. Now, I might be a little bit biased there, but I think he is a pretty good play today because of that price point. And Penske cars are typically really good at short flat tracks. Jay says, how much Hamlin do you have today, GOAT? Close to half my lineups. I'll tell you, I have my own personal GPP driver exposures posted on the spreadsheet on one of the tabs, but I have around half my lineups with Denny Hamlin today. Sean says, yeah, 89 likes. Come on, people, hit that like button if you're getting free knowledge. Yeah, I agree with Sean. Hit that like button. Really does help me out quite a bit, and I do appreciate it. Just a free and easy way to help show your support. FE says, good luck, everyone. Hope we all cash. Got to check on Hunter to make sure he's weeding in the yard and not just know and see in Discord. Sounds good, Rick. I'll see you in Discord for sure after we get done with the live stream today. Kevin says, I have 0 Hamlin today. You are like way opposite all of us, Kevin, but it can work out. Like last week we were all in on Kyle Larson and we saw how that happened. So I'm not making fun of you or anything. It's just definitely a different perspective today. And we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting. And also, BS and Discord just asked me if driver exposures were final, and yes, they are if you are watching the live stream. Happen to see that go across my screen there, but yes, GP driver exposures are final. Jim says, does Larson bad on flat tracks? So, I mean, he's been better in the 550 package this season compared to the 750, but don't forget earlier in the year at Phoenix, he had to go to the rear like 4 times in that race, I felt like, but he kept driving his way through the front. So I'm not that concerned about Kyle Larson here. I wouldn't say it's his best track out there, but he's had some decent finishes in the past, and it's still Kyle Larson. Like, I feel like he's going to go a bit overlooked today, which that could be bad. I'm trying to be like even on the field, maybe just a little bit over on Larson, but that's about it. I'm not like playing like 80% Larson day like I did last week, and it didn't work out. Chandler says, thoughts on MDB? I think MDB is a good narrative tournament play today, even without the narrative. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about with the narrative, so he lost his ride to Burton next year, and he's going to be driving for a ride, and that motivates drivers to run pretty well. We saw that a couple years ago at Bristol, but MDB has finishes at 5th and 6th here recently. Pretty much Penske car, good at short flat tracks. I think he's an interesting tournament play today. And he's definitely going to be lower owned than Christopher Bell, so he's like your direct pivot there. But I feel like everyone's saying the same thing I'm saying, where MDB is a good narrative play, so might be a little bit higher owned than maybe we think so. Jorge says, I'd like to see Hamlin win today just to see how fast he runs away from the lobster. Yeah, for sure. That'd be funny. Yeah, if you guys don't know, the winner of this race gets like a big lobster. Sports Betting Play says, is Harvick Byron a solid option? I mean, I don't hate it, but out of all the top guys today, I'm pretty low on Kevin Harvick. Like in the past, Kevin Harvick, he's been the guy at New Hampshire. He's pretty much been the guy everywhere, but that just hasn't translated this season. I think he could be a top 5, top 8 kind of guy, but I don't think it's going to be enough to be optimal today. I definitely prefer Byron over Harvick. I like Byron, but I'm not big on both today. They're tournament options. Angry says, Byron, Kess, Blaney, Stenhouse, Chastain, Reddick, and GPP. I think that's awesome. Because, like I was saying, I think Byron's a good tournament play. You got him. Kess is a good pivot there. Blaney's a good tournament play. I think it's good. And you got some chalk mixed in as well, so I think that's a good tournament lineup. Don says, Bell or Bowman. I like Bell over Bowman today. Which I probably haven't said many times this year, but I like Bell a lot. Stenhouse or Chastain. I'm going to go with Stenhouse there. Just love where he's starting. Chastain's a good pivot in tournaments. I actually have like both those guys in a lot of my same lineups, but do like Ricky Stenhouse quite a bit today. And if you guys are playing over on Price Picks, all he needs to do is get a finish to outscore his projected point total, which I think is as long as he doesn't crash, I think it's a pretty good bet there. Sean says 2 to 3 dominators today. I'd even push it to 4. Like you can easily build 2 to 4 dominator lineup builds today. And by that I mean guys like Bowman, Blaney, Truex. Like you can easily fit 4 dominators in today and not hate yourself. Jones or Dillon? I will go with Jones there, but I don't really like either today, but I'll go with Jones, starting about 11 spots further back. Rich says, update. Rich is our weatherman today. He's close to New Hampshire. Says, most of the rain has moved past the Awesome. I really hope it doesn't rain today. If it does, I hope they keep pushing lock back because I don't want to look at my lineups locked all weekend. Bubba to the rear. Yep, that is correct. Bubba to the rear, but for me, it does not change anything for DFS purposes. It's not really that big of a deal, to be honest. There will be enough cautions and stage breaks and things like that for him to get shuffled back up. Jorge says if only Stenhouse doesn't wreck. I hope he doesn't wreck. I know last week it wasn't his fault though. It was Cody Ware. I mean, he screwed Suarez and Stenhouse early on, which sucked because I had a lot of ownership to both of those guys. DH says Bubba or Eric Jones. I would say Bubba Wallace. It's close, but I'll go with Bubba there. I think Bubba can have a decent ride today. Trucker says any rumors on Newman ride next season? That's a great question because I don't know what's going to happen with Ryan Newman. I could see him just retiring. Really, I don't know if there's been like an official update on what Ryan Newman's planning to do, but I don't know where he's going to go. I don't see any options for him unless he's going to take like a lower level ride, which is probably what he's going to have to do. But there's like no openings for him. I just don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if anyone has any opinions on that. Feel free to fire them away, but I don't really know where Ryan Newman's going. John says going to take Bell over one of them in head-to-head. I must have missed something. Oh, Kurt Busch versus Tyler Reddick, top finishing position. Thanks, brother. Ooh, man. I don't know if Kurt Busch is like, I have some recency bias in me. I think I'm going to say Tyler Reddick there, though. Not sure how good I feel about that, though. But I definitely like Bell over one of them in head-to-heads for sure. I think Bell could be a top 5 guy today. I keep talking about Bell, so just be prepared for him to finish 20th place today. It seems like whenever there's like such a good mid-range play like that, I feel like things go south. So just be careful. LaJoy, a good turning play. Yeah, and since he's going to the rear, I think that's going to help us lower his ownership a little bit. Not that he was going to be chalky or anything. I think I have him projected like around 12% ownership. I could see that going down to 10 now that he's going to the rear, but I think he's fine. Sorry, I'm just looking at my phone here, checking the stream. It does not seem to be working. Okay. Well, we got over 100 likes. I do appreciate that. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit that like button. It does help me out quite a bit. Maybe a dislike as well, but I guess things happen. It's okay. Benjamin says, is Bubba getting scored from the back or from the spot he was supposed to start from? That's a good question. If you guys are new to NASCAR DFS, Bubba will be scored from the original starting position. So yes, he will start the race with negative points, but don't fret. There's plenty of time for him to make that up. Bubba says, Custer for the win. I don't think so. If Custer wins, I mean, I'll be happy for you because I'm assuming maybe you put a bet in on that because you can get some really good odds there, but I don't see that happening at all. Race sheets. Oh, Binder Phil's in the chat. Welcome in, man. Nice to have you here. Newman and Alfredo cars next year. Book it. Hey, that could potentially happen. I mean, Anthony Alfredo's been anything. I mean, he's been anything but really good this year. So he's been very pedestrian, very very pedestrian at best. I mean, phew. Definitely John Hunter Nemechek. I mean, Anthony Alfredo was looking John Hunter Nemechek make him look really good last season. The way he's been riding. But I could see that happening. I think I saw you tweet about that a little bit. Kevin says Hamlin and Truex to the rear by the end of the... Kevin hates Truex and Hamlin today. Then we're going to see his lineup in the contest. We'll see him having both today probably. So Avi says, how do you feel about Chase Elliott? Interesting play today because I don't think anyone's talking up Chase Elliott. I haven't heard Chase Elliott's name get brought up once, I don't think, besides people asking me in chat. I don't like him today. I much prefer the guys right in front of him. He's your leverage play, but I don't really love it. Just a pure leverage play at lower ownership. Would not be surprised if Elliott comes in like below 18% ownership. Now, he's the most popular driver. He's below 10K, so he's always going to have ownership because of that, because casual fans play, and they're always going to play Chase Elliott, but I'm not loving Chase today. You're welcome, John. Rich says, sorry, there's some small spots of you-know-what popping up, but I think it's all good now. Well, I hope so, Rich. Make sure you do a rain dance for us. We can't have rain ruining the race today. Spread says, Custer wins. I do well today. I know the optimizer likes Custer. I know you were talking about that earlier, Spread, which I think it's mainly just a price thing. Sean says, Pasta Man has overcooked pasta wheels. He's got something messed up. He's never been a fun roster this year, that's for sure. A couple times it's worked out, but more often than not, it doesn't. Let's see. Pat says, what do you think Kyle Busch ownership will be like? He's been a guy I'm having a hard time project. I think it comes in the mid-20s, personally. I think I have him like at around 26%. I could see that being a little bit lower, a little bit higher, but I think it'll be close. I think it'll be close to that. Bubba said, just tuned in Stenhouse. I like Stenhouse quite a bit today. I mean, he's probably going to be top 4 in ownership overall today. Everyone's going to be playing Ricky Stenhouse. He's just too cheap in a good spot. No reason for him to be close to $1,000 cheaper than Ryan Preece, that's for sure. So expect some very heavy chalk on Ricky Stenhouse today. Trucker says your optimizer didn't like Chase for me. Yeah, I can't get Chase to pop up either. I mean, if you want to play Chase, you're going to have to manually up his projection, but that's not something I typically do. I try to trust the numbers. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but I'm not a big fan of Chase today. And I say that, watch him come out, lead the first 100 laps, and I will be sad. But I don't think that's going to happen today. You're welcome, Bubba. Sports says face us in tournaments. Yeah, if you want to get away from the chalk, I mean, Chastain's right there. That's a good pivot, I think. James says, any Brad K love? I like Brad K today in tournaments. He's priced right in between Denny Hamlin and not William Byron. Right in between Denny Hamlin. Okay, Keselowski's priced right in between Joey Logano and Martin Truex. Those guys are going to be very, very chalky today. And Keselowski's been good at short flat tracks in the past. I know it really hasn't shown so much this season, but he's the most recent winner at New Hampshire. I think Kes is a good turn play today. I don't know why I was getting him confused with another driver. Sean says 117 likes is good. Chat can do better. The showman makes time to do this for you. Appreciate it, Sean. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Do appreciate that. Travis says really love Blaney today. Hey, I'm right there with you, man. I'd be just fine with a good Blaney day today. I love that price point today on DraftKings. Seems way too cheap in my opinion. Way too cheap. Chastain or Eric Jones? That's Chastain easily for me. There's definitely a lot more upside in his car. Thoughts on Mcdowell? I like Mcdowell better when we're at like a 1.5 mile track. He has not been that great at the short tracks this season. Big Boy says Newman or Reddick for tournaments. Reddick for me. Newman's going to be decently chalky today for where he's starting, so I'd go with Reddick there just because of where he's starting. People are going to shy away from that, but I don't really think that's much of an issue. I think he should be just fine. Travis giving me a dab emoji. Steel Curtain says, just tuning in now, did you already talk about Bubba going to the rear? I did, and my stance on it is that it does not matter to me. Like, I'm not playing Bubba as a dominator. Like, if someone like Kyle Busch goes to the rear, Martin Truex, that changes things for me because they don't have that track position anymore. And, yeah, they can get a good finish, but them dominating gets a lot more unlikely. I don't think Bubba's going to dominate at any point in this race. That's nothing we should have ever expected. So him going to the rear, it makes it harder for him, get back up front, but after all the stage breaks, cautions, he's going to get shuffled back up. I think he's just fine. Jorge says, I wouldn't be surprised if Blaney gets the lobster. I'd love to see that. It's been a while for Ryan Blaney, man. I know he won in Atlanta, but I feel like he's just kind of been a little bit of an afterthought for me for a while now. Jorge already answered that. Travis says, Bell and Suarez or Bowman and Amarillo for tourneys. Give me Bell and Suarez there. Just a big fan of Christopher Bell. Josh says, Byron Custer or Larson and LaJoy? Ooh, that's a very good question there. I'm going to go with Byron Custer just because I think Custer's got a little more upside than Corey LaJoy, but it's very close. It's a good question. Max says, is Logano, Hamlin, Truex together too chalky for single entry GPP? I'll tell you right now, the majority of lineups in that single entry GPP are probably going to start with that, so if you don't want to be with everybody else, yeah, that might be a bit too chalky because in cash games, that's what I'm starting out with, and if I was playing single entry, I typically play them a little bit more chalkier, so that's what I would start with. So if you want to try to get different, throwing a Keselowski over Joey, that's certainly a decent way to get different for sure. Jim says, if you had to pick one, Larson or Kyle Busch or Byron, Kyle Larson between all those guys. And I'm just trying to think of my own personal ownership. I believe Kyle Larson's my highest owned between those three. Although Kyle Busch is pretty close. But I didn't want to be too high on Kyle Busch because I'm super high on Martin Truex Jr., so I don't want to be like super heavy on the two front row guys together. Lane says Busch, car 18 on the 8. That's a good point, actually. I know my guy Shady loves narrative, so I don't think we thought about that one yet. It is the 18th, and if you want the narratives, I mean, Kyle Busch is right there for you. Jasper says, what about Smithley to get better drivers? Don't do that to yourself. Don't play Garrett Smithley today. I mean, I know it opens things up, but the pricing is too soft today, in my opinion, to have to play Garrett Smithley. If you want to play a super cheap dumpster diver kind of driver, I'd prefer Davison, but I don't really think you have to play any of those guys today, really, unless you're building 150 lineups. Kevin says Hunter's mower went faster than Hamlin and Truex will be today. Oh, Kevin, we're way opposite today. I can't tell if we're trying to lower their ownership or you just hate those two today. I'm still trying to figure that out. Travis says Busch Brothers push to front or chase opportunity to screw KB over on start. Who is behind on my point? Let's see. Busch Brothers push to front or chase opportunity to screw. Are you asking me to pick between the two? I don't really think Chase is gonna. I don't think Chase is gonna screw Kyle Busch, but we'll see. Hunter says, I like you, Kevin. Kyle says, thoughts on Suarez? I would say Suarez is way overpriced today. I don't have much ownership to him whatsoever. Like, I'd much rather play Ryan Blaney, Truex, Keselowski, the guys he's priced around. Yes, he's got a safe floor for where he's starting, but it's hard to justify paying $9,000 for Daniel Suarez today. Let's see. Josh says Reddick or Bubba in GPPs. I'll go with Reddick there. Bubba should be a little bit... now that he's going to the rear, I think people are scared of that because I've gotten a lot of questions about Bubba going to the rear. So I feel like people might be shying away from Bubba. So Reddick should be a little bit higher owned. I would still side with Reddick there, though. Hunter says, my calling says Suarez is optimal. Is that a manifest joke? We can't have Suarez optimal today. I would not be happy if he is. Could be like a Christopher Bell situation last year where it just did not make sense for where he was starting, like his price point, like how expensive he was. Like, yeah, he's a good PD player, but he was just so expensive, but then he kept doing good. So maybe we'll see a similar situation. Oh, I see what you're talking about, Travis. Do we have any information on that? Usually we get something like that, but if someone can let me know, it'd be helpful. Let's see. Matt says, Matty D. A lot of questions about Matty D today. I think people are kind of buying into that narrative. He might end up being very chalky today. I did not think, going into the weekend, I was not thinking people were going to like Matty D too much. Didn't really project him for too much of ownership, but with all the questions you guys are asking me about him, I could see Matty D being pretty chalky today. Not quite like Christopher Bell, but he could push close to 20% at this point. Trucker says, does Hunter hire out his mower? I don't think so. I think Hunter mows the grass. Sean says Larson, Bell, Truex, MDB, Blaney, and LaJoy. It's a good lineup, Sean. I think it's good in tournaments for sure. Because you got Larson, pivot off of some of the more chalky dominators, Christian Bell, MDB. I think it's pretty good. Let's see. Well, I've been over an hour already. Chat's still going strong though. So whenever you guys... I'll go as long as you guys want me to go. Because we still have a while for the race to start. Kevin says take out Truex. Kevin, no one hates Truex and Hamlin today more than Kevin here. If they happen to fail, he's gonna have a really good day today. But if they don't, he's gonna be in a world of pain, I think. I'm gonna check Twitter really quick, see if Bob said anything really important that I need to know. But it's not updating. I just saw that Bob said Wallace to the rear. Obviously, we know that by now. Priest, Half, and McLeod. Yeah, nothing really there, so. Okay. Anyway. Jorge says, I hope Matty D gets a ride next season. Hopefully. I don't know. We're running out of spots to put drivers is the thing. Like, I feel the spots are really getting limited at this point. So, because the Burton thing kind of really threw a wrench into things. Because I thought Matty D would probably be safe. Cindric, get moved around somewhere, but we'll see what happens. Kind of feel bad for Matty D, but, I mean, at the same time, he hasn't really performed exceptionally in that car. So, at the same time, you feel bad, but also it's like, well, I mean, I get it, but I don't know about Burton. Hunter says, me and Kevin are going to be eating steak and lobster tonight. Yeah, if those two guys fail, you guys be looking pretty good, but whew, that's some scary fades there. Ethan says, who do you have winning? I personally like Denny Hamlin to win today. I think he's going to get the first win. He's just been great at the short flat tracks this year. I'd say either Truex or Hamlin, but I'm leaning Hamlin. I think he gets that first step today. He has the best running position in this package this season, and if you take away the Dover race, which isn't really that similar to short flat tracks, he's been the best dominator as well. Frank says, best driver under $7,800. And since you said please, I'll be more than happy to answer you, Frank. Let's see. Under $7,800, that's going to be Ricky Stenhouse for me. Because I definitely don't like Ryan Preece. Or, I guess below $7,800. I guess that would include Christopher Bell. Oh, that makes it tougher. I love Bell today. Okay, if it's tournaments, Bell. If it's a cash game, I'd play Stenhouse. Love both, though. Two of my favorite mid-range drivers today. Jim says, Chris, you guys are hilarious in Discord. I know, Discord makes the race day so much more fun. It's got to be the best NASCAR DFS Discord out there. I'd put it up to test against anybody else's, for sure. Let's see. Jim says, oh, you had a question with that. I have a line, Larson, Hamlin, Truex, LaJoy, Custer. Yeah, I think that's good. And if you're asking to add Bell to that, I think that's totally fine. I love all those drivers quite a bit today. Sean says, I got a race question. Do these drivers just get a paycheck or a percentage of purse? They used to show the purse. Back in the day, they used to make that public, but they don't do that anymore. So, but yeah, they still get a decent chunk of money for sure. Every single race. Kevin says, fading chalk is how you take down turning, especially bad chalk. I don't agree with you, though, with the Hamlin and Truex. I think those are good chalk today. I think they were very good chalk. Now, Stenhouse could be a pivot for sure. Hori says if there isn't any, but I do like pivots off of Truex and Hamlin today, like Keselowski, Joey Logano, although he's getting chalky, William Byron. I mean, these guys are still great plays. It's just really hard for me to pass up Truex and Hamlin today. Hori says if there isn't any good rides left for Matty D, do you think he would pursue an Xfinity ride? I'm not really sure at that point. I don't think he wants to. I mean, he might have to, but I don't. We'll see. It's going to be... The whole Burton thing really threw a wrench into that because I thought, Matty D, Cindric, they could have easily just both stayed in, Penske, but it's interesting. We'll see what happens, though. I think Cindric's going to be good in that 2-car, though. That'll definitely be interesting next season. Pearson says, what do you think about Bell, Blaney, Bowman, Dillon? He threw me off with that spelling. I was like, who the heck is Dillon? But Austin Dillon. Larson and Reddick. I think that's fine for tournaments for sure. Reddick I like in tournaments. I think Austin Dillon's a good tournament play. But yeah, I think it's good. Hunter says, whoever put these data entries in must be a genius. If there's something wrong with the data this weekend, it's because I had Hunter do a few things, so I guess we'll have to be careful there. I did double check it, though. I think it's all good. But yeah, Hunter did put some things in the sheet for me. Dude says, I'm guessing a little love for Kurt Busch today with no PD upside, right? Yeah, I have no interest in Kurt Busch today. If he dominates again, whatever, I'll take the L. I don't see it happening. Tony says, what is the percentage chance that you and I and 10 others will have the same lineup in your contest? Probably pretty high, because I know a lot of people in the contest use my optimizer and play the optimal, which is what I typically do, so that leads to a chalky lineup. Sometimes I pivot off of that just to get a little bit different, but there's definitely going to be some dupes today, because, if you're just reading my article and stuff, we just naturally end on a similar lineup. Bubba says, Justin Haley top 20. I would not bet that. I don't think. I mean, if you're playing Justin Haley, you usually hope for like a top 28. Top 20 would be kind of crazy. JB says, hey Chris, what's up JB? Nice to have you here. I think you said earlier you were driving home, so hopefully that video made it go quicker like you said on Twitter. I do like Amarillo today, Ethan. I know he's been pretty terrible this season, but at the short flat tracks, he's ran pretty well. And in this package, specifically with Stuart Haas, he's been a pretty good driver, so I think he's got some upside today, starting in 22nd. A little bit expensive, though. Wish he was in the 7K range, but I guess I won't get too picky there. JB says, would you fade Wallace since starting in the rear in case I missed it? Thanks. I would not. It does not change anything for me personally. A lot of people are asking that, so I am kind of thinking his ownership's going to get a bit lower because that's probably like the 30th question we've had about Bubba Wallace going to the rear, so I still like him. I think he's a fine tournament play. Edwin, I would answer Briscoe with that. He said last spot single entry Briscoe or Pasta Man. I would go with Briscoe. Suave says Truex, Stenhouse, Hamlin, Bowman, and Chastain, question marks. If you're just asking if I like that lineup, I think that's really good. I like Truex, I like Truex, I like Hamlin, I like Stenhouse, Bowman's a good tournament play there. Chastain, yeah, I like that quite a bit, man. That is true, Kevin. There's going to be, I mean, unless you get different with the 7K guy, like if a guy like Austin Dillon happens to be optimal, or maybe like a Matty D or like a Chris Buescher or Alex Bowman, I mean, you could have a unique lineup today, even if you have the absolute chalk with Truex, Hamlin. But I know what you mean for sure. There could definitely be dupe city today. Like if Stenhouse, Hamlin, Truex, Bell, and a couple of the other chalky or drivers down there happen to smash today, Logano, there's going to be a lot of dupes today. Awesome, JB. Glad to hear that. That's what I'm here for. Ethan says, Bubba, Suarez, or Reddick, Bowman for GPP. I'm going to go with Reddick and Bowman there. I like the upside of both of those guys a little bit more. Born Blessed, nice to see you here, man. Bell, Custer, or Stenhouse and Newman? I will go with the second option. I do like Bell, though, a lot. I like him a lot. But I'm going to have to go Stenhouse. I'm going to make sure my lineups are uploaded because I always have worries like right before lock that I forgot to enter my lineup, so gotta make sure these load. don't know if you guys have these. I get nightmares where I forget to enter my lineups and they're scary. You wake up in a sweat. I think we're good. Dangerous to fade Larson. I think this is one of those races where you could fade Larson. Now, full fading, yes, it is scary because it's Kyle Larson, but I wouldn't hate being underweight on Larson today. Don't think he's an absolute must-play like he typically is every single week, it feels like. Better finish between Matty D or Reddick. I would say Tyler Reddick, even though it would be a good story today for Matty D. Greg says Hunter has changed exposure font. Oh, shoot, we might have to fire Hunter then. Changing the exposure font might be it's close to a federal offense there for sure. I'll have to go there. Or maybe I did that on accident, but we can blame it on Hunter either way. JB says, did you say Reddick for GPP? I think Reddick's a good tournament play today for sure. I think he can kind of hold that position all day long. Even if he loses a spot or two, not terrible at his price point. No problem, Poker. Back to you as well. Hope you have a good day. Bobby says Harvick. I mean, if you look at track history, yeah, Harvick's good at pretty much everywhere, but that is not translated this season. I don't love playing Kevin Harvick today. I like the guys right around him a lot more, to be honest. Like, I think he'll finish well, but that probably won't be enough for DraftKings purposes. Like, I need him to dominate, and I don't see that happening today. Because if we just take a look at the track type form for Kevin Harvick in this aero package this season, it's pretty much the same thing as the 550. He has 1.7 laps led. I think that was like for 5 or 10 laps at Darlington early on, then he got passed, and he just has not been a dominator today. And at his price point, we need him to dominate. Noah says contrarian top price guys. Well, as I was just putting down Kevin Harvick, he is a contrarian option for sure. Chase Elliott should be contrarian. Brett Keselowski a little bit contrarian compared to other guys he's priced around. That's kind of it. Those other guys are going to be decently chalky. So William Byron as well. The chalk is going to be Hamlin, Truex, Logano, and then kind of chalky will be Larson, Kyle Busch. Dude says, evergreen advice for a DFS, always enter a filler lineup when reserving entries in contests. You never know if an emergency will pop up or a loss of power. That is very true. That is very true. Dude is dropping some knowledge on us. I think I got screwed once where I didn't enter my lineups, although it was just kind of cash game lineup, so it was whatever. But it happened a long time ago, so it was whatever. But yeah, enter a filler lineup if you can. Brett says, full chalk, Larson, Hamlin, Truex stack. It's going to be pretty chalky. I think Joey's going to be higher owned than Larson today, but it's still going to be a pretty chalky trio for sure. Second, just checking something in my Discord really quick. Alright, sorry. Alright, I'm back. Bobby says, who's your best dominator today? I think it's either going to be Truex or Hamlin. I think Hamlin wins this race, though. That's my pick to win. I think he gets that first one today. I think he's due. JB says, awesome, good stuff. Catch you soon, bro. Good luck today. Yep, same back to you, JB. Same to you. Hopefully I get lots of posts from Twitter today. You guys send me good lineups that you built today. I think this could be a really good slate. Favorite value plays, Noah asks, below 6K. It's pretty ugly below 6K today. Corey LaJoie is a decent option. Anthony Alfredo. If you want to get real ugly, you could look at James Davison and Quinn Houff, but I don't think there's a need for that. So I'd say Corey LaJoie and Anthony Alfredo would be like your only options below 6K today. And Justin Haley's really cheap, but he's kind of starting pretty close to the front. Jorge says, I think it would be awesome if you had a press pass. I'd definitely love to see this live from the track. That'd be fun. Doesn't the internet suck, though, at tracks? That's what people tell me, and if the internet sucks, that could be a big issue. Like, in the past, my live streams have been a bit iffy, and I feel like I have good Wi-Fi. I feel like today's been good, but ever since I've been using the new streaming software, I think it's been pretty smooth, but yeah, Wi-Fi could be a bit of an issue, but it'd be fun to do it from a track, though, because I'll be going to Florida soon, just moving there, and there's a few tracks we could go to. That'd be fun. Sean says, chalk is fine if you get the rest 100% right from what I've learned from NFL DFS. I mean, chalk is fine. I mean, chalk hits a lot. People, like, when chalk misses, people kind of get, they think about the chalk that misses and forget about the chalk that hits, but it's always good to get some, lower owned plays to mix with the chalk. Like, it's fine if you're playing chalk, but try to find some lower owned plays too if you want to take it on a tournament. If you're playing cash games, yeah, go full on chalk. It doesn't matter. But in tournaments, try to find those pivots that you can get a little bit different on. See, Pat says, last two in, Custer, Blaney, or LaJoie. Blaney and... Oh, wait. Last two... Oh, I see. It was a 2v2. I was like, well, obviously Blaney and Kess there. I would go with Custer and Blaney between those two there. Custer and Blaney. Julian says, ready for the beach. Oh, of course. I cannot wait to go to the beach. We could do a live stream from the beach. That would be awesome. Now, I'm not sure I'd have my current setup, though, so that could be a bit of an issue. But definitely looking forward to that. Have my own office, and that'll be fun doing streams from there. Noah says 1 or 2 dominator race. Probably going to be 2. I mean, we could see a guy lead the majority of the race, but I think at least you're going to want 2 dominators per lineup. I think you can even stretch out to 4 in some if you're using guys like Bowman and Blaney, if you view them as dominator plays today. David says I live a mile from the Daytona track. Oh, that'd be fun. If we ever go to Daytona, we'll have to do a little meetup there. Maybe you guys will be at Daytona. We can meet up or something. That'd be pretty fun. Dustin says if you're ever in Delaware during race week, hit me up. It's a blast. I sure will, man. Sure will. It'd be fun to meet you all at a racetrack or something. But I don't really see myself ever being in Delaware, to be honest. But if I ever am, I will let you know. Travis says Byron, Stenhouse, Bubba, or Bowman. Okay, 3v3. Byron, Stenhouse, Bubba, or Bowman, Chastain, Truex. Phew, that's a tough question. I like Truex so much today, I'll go with the second one there. I'll go with the second one. I have not realized I've been on here an hour and a half now. This has been a long stream. I think it's the longest one I've ever done, but chat's been just going today, so I'll go as long as you want me to, as long as you have questions. But if we fizzle out, I will. Well, I guess there's a whole bunch of questions popping up here now. Jay says, thanks for all you do, Go. Appreciate it, Jay. I'm just here answering questions for you. It's fun hanging out with you all. Kevin hates Hamlin and Truex today. Absolutely hates them. Keith says, struggling choosing between Amarillo or Newman. I'd go with Amarillo there. I think there's a little bit of a higher ceiling with Eric Amarillo. Travis says 45 minutes till blast off. Yep, we got locked in. Yep, 45 minutes. Angry says MDB or Dylan GPP. I'll go with MDB there, starting one spot further back. I feel like they're similar plays today. Noah says, do you guys have an optimal lineup that doesn't include the top 3 chalk guys? Finding it hard to get away from those guys. So if you're doing that, I think pivoting away from... You could get the Brad Keselowski, William Byron. Even just putting in Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, they're going to be lower owned than the big 3 for chalk. So I'd kind of target those guys. And you can still make good lineups with them. Like, I know we're talking about Truex, Hamlin a lot, but I like other guys as well. I'm not 100% on them. I don't have more than half my lineups with either of them, so it's just everyone's asking about them. Josh says Briscoe or Mcdowell for the last piece. I'll go with Briscoe there. I know it feels gross, but I think the Stewart-Haas cars could be okay today. Trucker says trying 150 lines today, so we'll see how it goes. Hey, hopefully it goes well. Hopefully it goes well. It's fun because you can hedge your bets a lot in 150 max contests. Would Busch lead the standings if he wins? That's a good question. I have to look that up. I know it's head up top between Denny Hamlin and Kyle. I'd have to look at the actual leaderboard. I don't look at that stuff too much because I'm mainly focused on it for DFS purposes. But I mean, Kyle Busch has been having a fantastic season, so we'd have to see how that would slide the scales. But Busch is definitely cementing himself like definitely a championship contender this season the way he's been driving. Pretty much the hottest driver in NASCAR right now. So if you're leaving, whoa, it just said my chat disconnected. If you guys can still see this, please let me know. I don't know what just happened, but that was weird. I'm a little concerned it disconnected, so I'm going to wait for someone to tell me you can still hear me because it reset my live timer. You can still see me? That was weird. Okay, that was... I have no idea what that was. I'm still alive? Okay, good. That was weird. Anyway, thoughts on blanket today? If it's cold out, I would prefer a blanket. I mean, I hate being cold, so blankets would be optimal there in that situation. I know you mean Blaney, but yes, I like Blaney today in tournaments. I think he's a good play today. Appreciate the 100 people that said you can still hear me. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. Lane says, thanks for the feedback. I did follow and you're still live. I remember I called at 18. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was trying to think of what you were saying, but yes, I remember. So appreciate it, Lane. Thank you very much for stopping by today. 18th car on the 18th, outright winner. It can certainly happen, man. It can certainly happen. If you like the narratives there. Fading Larson, God be with me. Yeah, Fading Larson, you always need God to be with you for sure. But I don't hate that today. I have a lot of Larson today, but I don't think this is one of those races where you absolutely need to play Larson. Sean says, Chris, put your hand on your laptop. Is it hot? No, it's not hot. It's not. A little bit in the bottom. Hopefully it doesn't fry out on us. Good to hear, Rated. Thank you very much. Yeah, I don't know what that glitch was. That was really weird. Thought it died. After I said how good the stream's been lately with the new software. Of course it dies. What's up, Lo? I've been doing well. How about you? What do you think about Keselowski or Byron top 10? I'd be very shocked if Keselowski and Byron don't finish in the top 10 today. I'd be really shocked, actually. Franklin says, Bell, Newman, or Matty D in tournaments? If I had to pick one? Is that what you're asking? I like all of them in tournaments. If I'm picking one, it's Bell for me. Love Bell today. I think he's a great play. Top 3 exposures you're going with? I mean, you can probably figure it out from what I've been saying. It's Truex, Hamlin, and then either Stenhouse or Joey. I mean, it depends. It's very close ownership, though. But I feel like it's going to be everyone's top 3 in ownership. Trucker says, thanks for everything, Chris, and good luck to everyone today. Yeah, thank you, Trucker. Appreciate that. We'll see you in Discord chat. Talk it up. And, yeah, everyone's been making this a fun stream today. Going pretty long now. Eric says, everyone go ask Bob if the track has lights. He loves those questions. I always love seeing those. They're funny. Or if something else random has lights. Poor Bob. He gets so many tweets every day. Same thing. Travis says I'm off Kes this week, and when that happens, he smashes. Just a heads up. Isn't that the truest thing ever? Every time people are off Keselowski, he smashes. Like, it's weird. Keselowski is like the weirdest driver for DFS. Because Pocono, was he optimal both Pocono races? I know he was optimal for one of them, but like no one was playing Keselowski, and he did very well both races. Bell or... I'm going to go with Bell there. Absolutely love Bell today. For captain? Does FanDuel have like I don't know, like a showdown thing? I'm not sure what the question is there. David says, Bell, Custer, Hamlin, Logano, Stenhouse, Truex. Thoughts? I think that's a great lineup. I love Hamlin. Love Truex. Love Logano. I mean, that's going to be a super chalky lineup, but I like it a lot. One lineup out of 31 with Chase and Larson. Keep them or get rid of them. If you're just building one lineup, I mean, if they do well, I don't want you to be completely dead, so I wouldn't mind having one lineup with it, especially if you're building 30. Probably won't go too longer here. I'm out of water, so it's a bit of an issue here. Needed the mason jar today. Didn't come fully prepared. So if you guys have any questions, make sure you fire them away. It can be serious or not, but probably get out of here pretty soon because we have a lot coming up. And I've been on here for a long time, like hour 40 minutes. I don't usually go this long, but it's been fun. John says, need to Reddick, Bell, Custer, Dylan, or Eric. Give me Bell and give me Eric there. Bell and Eric. But you guys have been a very fun chat today. Like, nonstop. Had close to 300 people at one point. Do appreciate that. You guys make these chats fun. And yeah. Said says, got here late, but cheapest DK driver worth rostering. Well, you got here just in time because I'm about to sign off here, Said. But I will answer your question. Cheapest DK driver worth rostering. Like Corey LaJoy. I don't really want to go below Corey LaJoy today or Anthony Alfredo. I mean, you could look at guys like James Davison, but I don't see the need for it. Sean says, favorite mixed drink? I only drink water and Propel. So maybe if we mix like some kiwi strawberry and strawberry lemonade Propel. I don't drink anything like that. Is this a Carnage type of race? Goody says, no, it's not. No Carnage. I mean, yeah, there could be a wreck or two, but it's not going to be like Daytona or anything. Yeah, no problem, Lo. You guys make this fun. Do appreciate it. I mean, we wouldn't have a live stream if you guys weren't here to have fun, so. And hopefully we can do this during NFL as well. I think that'll be pretty fun. Have me and Andrew do a live stream every Sunday, probably around 11. He wants to stop by, but that's not until September, so we have a lot of time for that. Yeah, good luck to you, Matt. Thank you. Someone says drop the gym on us. I don't want to give out lineups here because, you know, people might just steal them and there's going to be like a bunch of ties, so. But you can kind of figure your way around there. Kevin says you'll be gone for 2 weeks. That's why you stay with us longer. You'll miss us. You're right, Kevin. Maybe that's what it is deep down inside. I'm going to miss you guys. I'll be doing baseball every day, but, you know, it's not the same. The NASCAR community is awesome. I mean, I love the baseball people, but the NASCAR community is just, it's top notch. Like, it goes baseball, it goes NASCAR, then, you know, NFL, baseball is down here. You guys rock. Bigger says plenty of contests for NFL. Oh yeah, NFL contests are insane. Like, there is never a shortage of contests for NFL, and I love football, so it'll be fun to talk about that. Just kind of hang out and have fun with that. Dustin says, gotta get the liquid IV packs for your water. The watermelon is slamming. Oh, the door open. I think my dog opened the door there. But, oh yeah, watermelon would be fantastic right now. It'd be great. I think we have some upstairs. Newman or Stenhouse Jr.? I'll go with Stenhouse there. No problem, Travis. Dude says, thank you, Chris. Good luck today. Everyone remember, today's a left turn only for all your drivers. My drivers love to take right turns, though, so hopefully they listen to you. But, yeah, have fun. I'll see you in Discord, dude. Should be fun there after that. The Discord's pretty much like the extension of the live stream. It just goes on all day. Like, I'm sure a weekend to have in the break on a Tuesday at 12 a.m. we'll still be talking. It's fun there. Dude says, expect DFS NASCAR to fade once NFL starts. That's for sure. Unfortunately. It's unfortunate, but I will still be doing content for it, obviously. Won't stop that. Recky right turn about 60 laps in. Probably. We know how Recky is. Yep, good luck, Big Gritter. I'll probably get out of here. Let's see, Sean says, good for you, bro. Kind of jealous. Gotta have beer in my life, though. Hey, I got nothing against it. If it makes you happy, it makes you happy. All right, I'll probably get out of here, guys. Appreciate the long stream. It was fun. You guys made it fun. If you want to check out the Patreon, you can do that. Content over there, projections, ownership projections, optimizer, Discord, chat, all that fun stuff. Like $10 a month if you join the Discord. Follow me on Twitter if you want. And I'll probably get out of here. And I'll answer this question for Andre because I think he just got here. Pick one, Custer, McDowell, Briscoe. I will go with Custer there. And Chastain and Stenhouse for that question. And that'll pretty much be it. Appreciate you guys stopping by. I'll see you in the next one.